All right, welcome back. You are watching Morning Express. Today is a Thursday, so we do look at technology on Tech Central. And in studio with us, we have Joel Macharia, who is the CEO for Abacus Kenya. Abacus is a fintech technology, financial technology that is, and he's going to tell us more about it, why he even started it, how the idea was born, and how it is reaping profits for him. If banks are not going to make profits, we're going to make profits on Abacus. Thank you so much for joining us, Joel. How are you doing?
Very well. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Abacus, for people who don't know about it, I only see it on Twitter. Well, I know what it does, but people don't know what it does. So mind educating us.
So Abacus is an online and mobile solution that's supposed to help Kenyans both locally and in the diaspora access investment options that are in our market. So we're talking about stocks, bonds, unit trusts, unlisted companies, and so what we do is we work together with a lot of banks and brokers to help our technology be able to deliver the solutions to the clients.
All right. You seem pretty young, and young people today don't really have that much interest in things like capital markets and stocks, and that is what Abacus does.
Yes.
Where do you get the interest?
I think I've been investing in the Nairobi Securities Exchange since I was in high school. We had a teacher that took us on one of those trips, and it stuck with me for quite a while. And over the last maybe 10 years or so, I've really kept my interests around financial markets. I used to run a blog that was a consumer finance blog that also talked about investing. And I was an agent for brokers back when the IPOs were really the thing that everybody was doing, the Kenyan IPOs, etc.
Weren't you a teen by that time?
Well, I made my first investment in the NSE, I think the year I turned 18.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've been doing so over the last 11 years. Yeah.
Pretty interesting. All right, so tell us about Abacus as an app.
Yeah.
What does it do? How does it work? Because we'd like to understand that before we can even get into how anyone who doesn't know anything about stocks can make sense of it.
Okay, so the application essentially was built for, when we built it with my co-founder who's is based in the US, we were building a tool to help us invest in the markets, and for him sitting in the US, it was how do we make it as easy as possible for him, as easy as it is for me here to get his money into the NSE. And so we built a tool that would provide different things that you can use. One, to decide what to buy, and two, to actually buy or sell the particular, if it's a share, if it's a bond, if it's a unit trust. So what we have on display here is actually, and this we'll discuss in a bit. So we've built a tool that allows investors to see different parts of the news as it comes in, and we aggregate this news from different publishers, and we pull it in. We use a bit of artificial intelligence that allows us to make sure that there's no Kim Kardashian trying to break the internet when you're trying to read business news. And then we've got a section here that shows the trades that happen. So you can actually see this is from yesterday's trades, and this data comes in directly from the Nairobi Securities Exchange. So it's real-time data, and you can actually see what prices, what they are at, which companies are trading, and what they're trading at. Then you can see what orders are available. So if you're looking to buy or sell, you know that since the market isn't yet open, but you can see the different prices and what quantities are available.
And what the stocks are trading at.
Yes, so these are the orders and
so the ones that do not have anything.
Yes.
What's going on over there?
So right now the market hasn't opened yet, so there is no orders that have come in. From about 9:30 or so, this board gets full with the bids and the asks. So you can actually
when the
see
trading opens.
That's when the trading opens. And so before you decide, if you'd like to buy Safaricom shares, you'll come to the Safaricom section and see what's the price that's being asked for, so that you're able to get the quantities you'd like.
Is this the last price that you checked out, 1950?
No, so that's the price that was left on the board overnight.
Okay.
And that's
at close of trading.
Yes, yesterday. Okay. So it's persistent. So these are the ones that are usually left on the board, but it will refresh in about at about 9:30. You'll have the full board display, and then you've got, this is now the day's trading. So this just shows you the price list from yesterday, and if you want to see for other days, you can actually just also go in and have a look at it.
Okay.
We've got some technical analysis. Now this is for those very geekish people who want to look at all kinds of, particularly people who do Forex have seen this, but we've done it for Kenyan stocks, and our data goes back as far as 2009, and you can see this is, for instance, this is Kenya Airways run KQ on a daily basis, and this is how it's performed.
So you can be able to tell that when it actually went up, something good was happening.
Yes.
So, for instance, over there, what was happening? Was it the time they released the results? Was it the time they got a partnership with the Ministry of Tourism?
This is actually 2011.
Yeah,
so
2011.
This is data, because this is back in 2011, and that's when KQ was at that price.
Yeah.
Sorry, we seem to be having a bit of a technical hitch.
Yeah. Well, we're going to fix that, but in the meantime we can use the laptop.
Yeah. But so it shows you price, and if you can see the trend of KQ, it's come down to the current price, which is about 3 shillings 75. Then we've got and what happens is that if you haven't bought shares, that maybe out of the 66 or so companies that are listed on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, you want to track 5, you want to track 10. So we've built watch lists that allow you to pick and select shares that you can actually see.
Okay.
Now what happens is that of the choices you've made, we also then build the news to help you see that, so that the news that will come in about your companies and how they're performing, the ones that you're tracking.
So tell me something. At the end of it all, you know, you've profiled all these companies, and one is able to easily maneuver and see exactly where to invest.
Yes.
But then again, when you look at investors today, you know, investors want to invest in stocks that are performing well. So do you try to give them advice as well on where to invest, how much money to put in?
So at the moment, no, because you know, we are trying to avoid getting into that situation where without a license we really can't provide financial advice. However, what we've done is to actually build a community around of, you know, investors who we pull in, who have a bit more expertise, and you'll find the people who are able to provide. Somebody will come in and say, for instance, I'm a very good technical trader and I mapped it out, and this is my logic for buying this particular share, and they'll put that on the community forum, and people will have a look at it and make sure and decide whether it works.
Okay, so tell me, I download the app.
Yes.
Yeah, it's free?
It's free. It's available on both on the Android and iOS store.
Yeah.
If you search for Abacus Finance or Abacus Kenya, you'll be able to find it and you can download it. And it allows you to actually even buy and sell off the mobile application.
All right.
Yeah.
So how does that go? Take us through the entire process from the time you download the app. I'm sure you already have it on your phone.
Yes, I do.
We might want to look at what it looks like so people can be able to know. And what is it called when you're downloading it? Do you just type Abacus Kenya? Do you
Yes, if you look for Abacus Kenya, if you look for Abacus Finance or Abacus Kenya, you'll be able to see the application.
Yeah.
Once you download it, it requires that you register, and that's just providing your name and an email address, and that gives you an account. But before you can start trading, there are certain requirements for, you know your client and anti-money laundering requirements that we have, and we have to capture a lot more information.
All right, so you just said it's free.
Yes, the application is free.
So once I download it, it doesn't consume a lot of space on my phone?
No, it's actually a very small application, 13 MB at the largest.
13 MB, okay. And then once you open it?
Yes.
How does it work?
So the first time you open it, you're actually going to
So if you can
register.
probably demo, so my cameraman can be able to see what you're doing on there.
Yes. So the first time you open it, I don't know if you can see this. The first time you open it, you will have to register. And we've got so this particular one I've already registered, and this is what we use for demonstration.
Okay.
And you will be able to add shares to your watch list and track, and you can actually start to see. It will provide you with everything that you need to see. You will find the news. So a lot of people actually log into this application every single day to have a look at the news.
That's pretty fast, actually.
Yeah.
Or is it because of the Wi-Fi?
No, this is actually running. This is actually running on Safaricom right now. So it's it's a really well done application. We invest a lot of time in making sure that we build beautiful and fast applications, because the stock market
considering the impatience of stock traders. Okay.
Yeah, and then you can actually see different applications. You can see the prices of the different companies that have. And you're able to even get the news specific to a company. And then you can actually change. You can buy and sell.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me just switch to. You can actually buy and sell in some cases. So like this, if I go through into the market and I pick a share that's on my watch list.
And what share is that?
So this is Atlas Development. So if you look at it, you can see at the bottom here, we've got buy and sell functions. So if you own the share, you'll actually have that button. If you don't, then you just have the buy button available for you to buy. You click on buy, you enter, and it provides you with the prices, and it shows you what your balance is at the time, so that before you can place a trade, you enter, you set the date, and you click on buy, and the trade goes.
So your credit is actually part of your, do you have any partnership with mobile money or things like that? Any mobile money platforms, so you can be able to track your credit and buy certain stocks and things?
Yeah, so you can actually deposit using Visa, M-Pesa, you can deposit using a variety of different payment options, and the money comes in real time. So we don't actually have 3 days of waiting to see whether the float comes in. So once you place a trade, once you place or you make a deposit, it's instant load, and then you can actually make your purchases. And the same thing happens if you make a withdrawal. It's an instant withdrawal. We don't spend 3-5 days. So we've built automated systems in the back that allow us to do this very, very quickly and at scale.
Okay. Yeah. How many downloads do you have so far on the app?
Right now we have about 5,000 investors that are both on the web and mobile applications combined.
Okay.
On the application for this particular one, we have about 1,500 or so. I think, yeah, about 1,500.
Are you looking to get into forex trading, or you're now specifically looking at the stocks particularly?
So we're not. Forex trading isn't particularly interesting for us, I guess, because it's done all over the world. But we do actually, working in collaboration with one of our partner banks, allow our investors to hold money in different currencies, and they can actually switch over when they see that the prices are good. So it's more of a softer rather than the hardcore kind of forex trading that we know about.
Okay. Yeah. So some people think that this is too much jargon. Maybe we're talking a bit too techy, or not even techy. It's a bit too much of financial technology that we're looking at. But I guess this is a chance for people to also understand what these things are all about, and young people especially.
That's true.
So if you want to explain to a young person today, a 21-year-old who I guess is seeking to invest in stocks.
Yes.
First, how would you explain a stock to them and convince them to instead of downloading a game app, they can download Abacus and use it for something that will bring money, so they don't have to waste their bundles?
So I think the big news right now has been banks are making a lot of money off the loans. Now, if you wanted to get a portion of that money, you'd want to be a part owner of that bank. Maybe you can't afford to buy a bank right now, but you can afford to buy a few shares of let's say, to mention a few names, Barclays, Equity Bank, and these banks will pay a dividend. Now, a stock or a share is a small portion of ownership of an institution, and you can make money from when the prices of that share go up, or when the company decides that out of those many billions that it has made, it's going to distribute to its owners. So that's how you can make part of it. But what we've done in addition is that we got a lot of people asking us, and we set up what we call the Money Academy, the Abacus Money Academy, which is both online and instructor-led classes. Over the course of a month, we introduce people to different ways of investing, from stocks to real estate to even Forex. We just give a broad overview of how people make money in Forex, and we run these classes every month. For 4 weeks, and they're hosted at Strathmore University. And you can actually get more information if you go to our website and click on Academy.
So how profitable is the business? You were part of the Demo Africa participants at some point,
we were one of the top 30 startups in Demo Africa for 2015, and the business is actually growing. We pay our bills. Still really early business. It's still really young. We're very young. We're a really small team.
How many years now?
We started Abacus Incorporated in November of 2014. At the end of November of 2014. So effectively December 2014.
So you've not yet realized profits, maybe 4 or 5 years from now?
Yes. I mean, what we're looking at in the early stages of our business is really to grow the number of investors we have for several reasons. One, the more people we have, the more we can get economies of scale and make it cheaper for people to make investments. The second thing is that the bigger community we have, the better the ideas that come out of it. So we really focused on growing the community at this stage. But the business pays its bills, which is, it's fantastic. We're just keeping now reinvesting whatever we make into growing the business.
All right. What's your message to young people today who, as opposed to coming up with financial technology applications or technologies for that matter, are instead interested in coming up with solutions for countries outside of Africa, game apps, video games and things like that? What would you tell them today?
I think the thing we've seen is that when the only thing you have is a hammer, everything is a nail. So a lot of people approach it from, I learned how to code, so that's the only thing I can do. So you approach it from, I'm going to build software, rather than what software is needed. And I think if you're going to be building something, whether it's a game, whether it's an application like ours, you need to understand who are you building it for. and what are they actually, what value are they going to get out of it? This one was, Kevin in the US, myself here, we had all these difficulties of getting into the market, so we built something that kind of scratched our own itch, and it turns out there's hundreds of thousands of investors who are looking at coming in. Same thing, if you're building something, what is it exactly supposed to deliver in terms of value? It's not just that because you can write code, you should write code.
All right, so how many investors do you have on your plate right now?
On the platform, we have about 4,800 investors. This is all purely in the last maybe 6-7 months, and all from word of mouth. So we are just about now to start aggressively. We've been building the platform, so we're now about to start aggressively recruiting new investors so that they can actually access the options that we have.
What are the challenges you face in the financial technology realm? That you think maybe as a young investor, you probably hope could get better?
One, of course, is regulation. Coming in from a technology perspective and seeing a lot of the regulation that exists came in from a really non-technology perspective. So you find the things that we come up with are not accepted. A lot of times we have to keep going back and forth with the banks, with the regulators, and saying, okay, we've actually met what the law had in mind, even though we've done it differently. I'll give an example. For a lot of financial institutions, proof of identity is usually interpreted as copy of your ID card. Now, we are a digital business. We're trying to avoid having physical paperwork. So when we say somebody can take a picture and WhatsApp it to us, it's a new way of doing it. It's not a photocopy, but it's the same exact result. And we have ways of verifying that this ID and the names and the details and the pictures of it are the same, are actually correct, because eCitizen and the IPRS system. But you find the way a lot of these legal things are interpreted is very archaic. So that's been one of our biggest struggles. The other one, of course, is usually trust. We're a new company, we're a young team. I think I'm the oldest one on my team. Actually, I'm the oldest one on my team. So a lot of people see it as these guys are not really sure. No, to see a pot-bellied, balding banker
with graying hair.
Exactly.
Okay.
Believe that we can deliver. Yeah.
Interesting. So, the president has assented to the bill capping interest rates. Do you think the stocks, there's going to be a lot of traffic on your app today?
Well, yes, for sure, because a lot of people now are starting to
for
try
good
to find
reasons
out.
Or for bad reasons? You think the stocks today are going to perform poorly, considering the number of banks on the list of companies?
So I don't think the banks are actually going to be affected as much. I think there's one of the things that we've seen from working in this space is that there's usually a big disconnect between what's actually happening in the news and what's happening on the stock market. Now, banks have been declaring super profits for quite a while, and so they've established huge margins, and some of the larger banks have huge numbers of customers. So in as much as they might be capped, they will find a way of leveraging this network that they have to actually still drive the kind of returns that they've been seeing. So aside from just the very lazy way of just lend to a few people for a lot of money, they might find, and a lot of them are now investing in technology to help them give better loans. To give an example, KCB's Mshwari is now doing 10 billion. Now that's something particularly about 10 billion in loans, which was typically not there before. You needed to go in, provide a lot of documents, and so they're starting to innovate and lower these rates and find better ways of delivering value at low cost. So we will still see a lot of these profits. I don't think they'll be affected as badly as we think they will, but I think there might be a bit of jitters as people wait and see, because I guess there's still the 3-week waiting period before the bill comes into effect, etc.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in and telling us about Abacus.
Thank you for having us.
And just to rub it in, the app is free, right?
Yes, the app is free. It's available on the iOS and Android store.
Okay.
And online, if you just go to abacus.co.ke.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Joel.
Thank you.
Pleasure having you in studio. And wishing you the best with Abacus. If you haven't checked it out, you should. And if you haven't invested in a stock, I think you're too late to do that. Get onto the app, download it, Abacus Kenya. Abacus Kenya, right?
Yes, if you search,
Abacus Kenya on iOS. Or abacus.co.ke. That is both Android as well as iOS. Be able to get this app and see what it means to invest in stocks. And the beauty of enjoying your dividend is actually one that you should take seriously, because if you depend on your salary, All right, we've come to the end of the show, and thank you all so much for watching Morning Express. My name is Joy Doreen Bira. For more, you can visit our website, ktnnews.com, and if you want to know more about Abacus also go to ktnnews.com.